lately we have to rinse, মানে পানি দিয়ে একবার ওয়াশ করে নিতে হবে, rinse all surfaces with clean water to remove residues from the cleaning agents। আমাদের যে ওয়াশিং পাউডার অথবা ডিটারজেন্ট আছে সেটাকে ক্লিনিং এজেন্ট বলা হচ্ছে, সেগুলো যাতে প্রপারলি রিমুভ হয় এজন্য পানি দিয়ে we have to clean one time। Now, the process of rinsing is important to prepare the equipment surfaces for disinfection। সারফেস গুলোকে ডিসইনফেকশনের জন্য তৈরি করতে হেল্প করে। Because if there are detergents in the surface of the equipment, and then we are putting the disinfectants that may not work properly। So, one more thing to remember, uh, be clear in your mind about the terms disinfection and disinfectants. Okay, so disinfection is the process, and disinfectants are the chemicals we use to disinfect anything। Okay, uh, then drying. After rinsing, we have to dry the surface. Now, drying may not be always necessary. It depends on what kind of disinfectant we are going to use. If the disinfectant we meant to use require a dry surface to act properly, then we have to dry. Or if that doesn't require dry surface, then we can put that disinfectant when the equipments are wet। Okay, no issue with that। So we always have to follow the manufacturer's guideline of the disinfectant। Okay, then we have to select a proper disinfectant। Now it depends on whether we are doing a general cleaning or whether there were an disease outbreak। For that specific reason we are doing disinfection। So depending on the purpose, the disinfectant may be different। We have some of the very commonly used disinfectants like the quaternary ammonium compounds, iodophores, hydrogen peroxide, chlorine based products, etc. So actually all the time these are used in hatchery facilities। Now, once we have selected the disinfectant, we have to prepare the disinfectant solution। Now, we may not be applying the disinfectant directly into the surface of our equipment. We may have to uh, make a solution with clean water। So, by observing the manufacturer's guideline, we have to prepare the solution। There may be a recommendation that we have to mix 100 ml of solvent with uh, I mean 100 ml of disinfectant with 900 ml of water. Maybe this kind of recommendation will be there, so we have to follow the recommendation। Then, after the solution is prepared, without making any delay, we have to apply those disinfectant solution. And we have to apply to all surfaces in the hatchery using sprayers or fogger machine or other suitable application methods। Uh, and we have to ensure a thorough coverage of walls, floors, equipment, and other surfaces so that no corner of the equipment or the facility is out of the coverage of our disinfectant। Then another important thing is to maintain the contact time. The contact time indicating the time required for this disinfectant to react. Some of the disinfectant may react within 2 to 3 hours, and some of them may require up to 24 hours। So we have to know the contact time required for the disinfectant, and until that time we cannot like rinse or wash with water anymore. We have to wait until that point of time. And after the um, time has been passed, the recommended time, we may have to rinse or we may not have to rinse depending on the manufacturer's guideline. Then we have to do the post disinfection monitoring, like we may take some sample out of different corners of the equipment where there are chances of any remaining contagious microorganism or pathogens. We can do the microbiological testing of those samples, and by doing so we can confirm whether the disinfection process is successful or not. And we have to establish and enforce biosecurity protocols to prevent the introduction of pathogens. This is common for all stages. Another thing is the ventilation, whether it is to ventilation during disinfection process or not, that have to be followed according to the manufacturer's guideline actually. So some of the disinfectant they may recommend that close the all the windows so that the room with the incubator machine and other equipments which are being disinfectant, there is minimum airflow. So on that case we have to close all the doors and we should not visit that room for 24 hours or the recommended time. And once the recommended contact time has been passed, then we have to open all the windows so that the disinfectant and the gases produced from that disinfectant are blown out from the room through the airflow or ventilation. Then we can visit the room. So it depends whether they have recommended so or not. I think that's all about the steps of disinfection for hatchery. And for the incubator, as I mentioned earlier, these are all same. These are quite like the we have to empty. Mm, okay. We have to do the emptying process, cleaning, rinsing, drying, selection of disinfectant, prepare the disinfectant solution, all the same. Okay. Hmm. Okay. Now these are same process. So I have just written in a small letter here. Uh, Maybe some differences depending on the because we are talking about specifically incubator here. The process is same, but some of the points may be different inside the subheadings. So have a look later on. Now the question comes, why disinfection? In fact, this question should come earlier than the knowing the process of uh, disinfection, right? So why should we go for this? Because this will cost money, this will cost time, right? And labor. So why do we go for these? Why cannot we skip the disinfection process? The reasons is that if we want to prevent the disease, if we want to keep the biosecurity measures intact, if we want to increase the hatchability, or not increase, if we want to like have optimum hatchability, then we need this disinfection, because without disinfection or regular cleaning of your enterprise or facility, you may have lower hatchability. Because there will be pathogens and they will contaminate the eggs and the embryo may not grow. And to ensure the biosecurity, to ensure other vertical or horizontally transmitted disease to transfer to chicks, these are this can be prevented. And disinfection is also required to have healthy cheek. Hmm. So, as a farmer, they will always ask for uniform and healthy chicks. If the hatchery is producing ununiform or not so healthy looking chicks, the farmer may not buy the chicks. They may buy for the first time, but if the performance is not good because of bad chick quality, they will not buy. So disinfection ensure that the eggs are healthy, and the eggs products, that is the chicks, they are also healthy. And reduction of vertical transmitted disease, as well as horizontally transmitted disease, I would say. So you may know the terms vertically transmitted and horizontally transmitted diseases. So mm vertical transmission refers to the transfer of pathogens from the parent birds to the eggs. Disinfection helps break the cycle of infection by minimizing the presence of pathogen on the eggshell and within the incubator environment. That is how we can avoid or break the breeze in between transmitting from the parents to the chicks. And it also helps to prevent the cross contamination, like from one incubator to another incubator the contamination may goes if we are not doing the disinfection properly. And many of the equipment we share in between different incubators. So in a same enterprise, we may have 10 incubators, but some of the equipment which are not regularly required for all the incubator, we may have three or four of them in the farm, in our enterprise. So what we do usually, we use them uh, at different time at different incubators. So they can be a source of disease spread from one incubator to another incubator as well. Disinfection process prevent the cross contamination through those kind of equipments. And of course, if we are doing any business related to biological matters like the chicks or the eggs, we have to compliance with health standards. Maybe from the local or from the government, we have to compliance with the health standard of that locality. So in doing so, we must have to disinfect regularly, because some of the disease may be zoonotic, uh, may have much more economical impact than just economically hindering your enterprise. Not only that, may harm other enterprises as well when they are spread out. So we have to be careful about the health standard, and disinfection help in maintaining that. And when we have quality chicks with a proportionately maintained hatchability rate, so there will be increased in the productivity of your farm growth. Prevention of fungal and bacterial growth, this is the sole purpose of disinfection, so we know this one. Enhanced worker safety, yeah, we just mentioned that some of the disease may have genetic capacity. So if we are doing the disinfection regularly, we are also safeguarding our worker as well. And long term equipment maintenance, you must know that if we maintain and like calibrate an equipment, that lasts longer than if we do not use that equipment, or we are not calibrating or not taking care of the equipment. That is what is said here, that if we do regular checking or disinfection, that contribute to the longevity and proper functioning of equipments. Hmm. So that is what. is mentioned here. Okay, so we have covered the experiment number 5. As we have enough time to go with, I'd like to complete this experiment as well today, which is the selection of hatching eggs. So here also we at the keywords before going into detail. One keyword we can see here is the hatching egg. The egg which is not for table purpose but being used to produce chicks are known as the hatching eggs. We have another keyword here which is the selection. So here selection means that choosing eggs, as we are talking about the hatching eggs, choosing eggs which have the best probability to hatch out, যেগুলো থেকে হ্যাচ আউট হওয়ার সর্বোচ্চ প্রবাবিলিটি আছে সেই এগগুলোকে চুজ করার যে প্রক্রিয়া সেটাকে এখানে সিলেকশন বলা হচ্ছে। সো one of the keyword we have just talked about is the hatching egg. So this is the definition or some description maybe. A hatching egg is an egg that is specifically intended for incubation to produce chicks. These eggs are fertilized, meaning they have been exposed to male sperm to allow for the development of an embryo. Okay, so as we know that female birds will eventually lay eggs whether there is male bird present or not, but the presence of male bird or the sperm ensure that the eggs become fertilized so that it can be called as the hatching eggs now. The eggs are carefully handled and stored to maintain their viability, and they are typically transferred to an incubator where control conditions support embryonic development. We have talked about this in our last class. The goal is to hatch healthy chicks from the eggs. This is the goal of having hatching eggs. And we have some related terminologies here which we need to know. Those are the fertility and the hatchability. So we have discussed about this earlier though. The fertility in the context of poultry refers to the ability of a female bird to lay eggs that, when exposed to male sperm, have a potential to develop into viable embryos, অথবা সহজ কথায় নিষিক্ত ডিম। এখন the fertility is expressed in percentage. পার্সেন্টেজ এক্সপ্রেস করা হয়। কিসের পার্সেন্টেজ? ফর এক্সাম্পল দ্য নাম্বার অফ এগস প্রডিউসড ইন আ ডে, একদিনে যতগুলো ডিম প্রডিউস হলো, অ্যাজ ফর এক্সাম্পল 1000 eggs in your farm. Out of those 1000 egg, if 900 are fertile, then we will say the fertility is 90%. 90%. So that is how we express in percentage. Now the hatchability. Hatchability is a measure of the percentage of fertilized eggs that successfully hatch into live chicks through incubation. So ওই যে যে ফার্টিলাইজড এগগুলো আছে তার কত পার্সেন্ট আবার ফুট ডিম ফুটে বাচ্চা উৎপাদন হয়, সেই পার্সেন্টেজটাকে বলা হয় হ্যাচাবিলিটি পার্সেন্টেজ। Um, Now, hatchability can be calculated in two ways. One is that we can calculate out of the টোটাল এগস, যতগুলো ডিম এসেছিল তার মধ্যে কত পার্সেন্ট ফুটেছে, দ্যাট ইজ ওয়ান। অ্যানাদার ওয়ান ইজ আউট অফ দ্য ফার্টাইল এগ, সেখান থেকে কত পার্সেন্ট থেকে বাচ্চা ফুটেছে, দ্যাট ইজ অ্যানাদার measurement of hatchability. Now, these two kind of hatchability, 80 to 90% or higher is expected. I would say that if we are considering only the fertile egg, শুধুমাত্র ফার্টাইল এগ থেকে যদি আমরা হ্যাচাবিলিটি কাউন্ট করতে যাই, তখন সেখানে 90 অর অ্যাবাভ ইজ এক্সপেক্টেড। বাট ইফ উই আর ক্যালকুলেটিং দ্য হ্যাচাবিলিটি ফ্রম দ্য অল এগস রিসিভড ফ্রম দ্য ফার্ম, হোয়েদার ফার্টাইল অর নন ফার্টাইল, সাপোজ টু বি ফার্টাইল অল, কিন্তু হয়তো বা কোনো কারণে মিস হয়ে গেছে, সো সেই ক্ষেত্রে হ্যাচাবিলিটি ইজ অ্যাকসেপ্টেড আপ টু অ্যাজ লো অ্যাজ 80%, 80% পর্যন্ত সেখানে অ্যাকসেপ্টেড করা হয়। ওকে, অ্যান্ড nowadays there are many enterprises who go for the AI, artificial insemination, in the females. So in that case, you may know that once a female is artificially inseminated, the chicken especially, uh, hen, so once they are inseminated, they can produce fertilized egg up to 7 to 10 days, 7 থেকে 10 দিন পর্যন্ত ফার্টিলাইজড ডে এগ প্রডিউস করতে পারে একবার এটা কি বলে, আর্টিফিশিয়াল ইনসেমিনেশন, হ্যাঁ, একবার ইনসেমিনেশন করার ফলে। বাট ফর সেফটি, ইউজুয়ালি 2 times a week, সপ্তাহে 2বার AI করে দেওয়া হয় যাতে দেয়ার ইজ নো মিস। বাট দে হ্যাভ দ্য ক্যাপাবিলিটি, ওয়ান্স দে হ্যাভ sperm inside, the sperm can survive for up to 10 to 12 days inside the female body, so it will continue to produce fertilized eggs. Okay. Whatsoever, that is also important information, but this one is more important in terms of the content of the chapter. So the hatchability should be 90% or above when we are considering the fertile eggs as a standard, and it should be 80% or above when we are considering all the eggs we receive from our farm. Okay. Table eggs, I know you know that the egg which is for eating purpose, not fertile, is the table eggs. Now we need to know that what points are important when we are going to select hatching eggs. Mm. Usually it is the reputation of the egg providing breeder farm, right? Egg providing breeder ফার্মের প্রিভিয়াস রেপুটেশন কি আছে তার উপর ডিপেন্ড করে যে হোয়াট ইজ that is why in the beginning for the new farms or for the new incubators, sorry, for the new hatcheries, they want to purchase from very well renowned sources so that there is a very less or minimum chance of infertile eggs. But the fact is that if they go for well renowned companies to provide them um, hatching eggs, it takes time to book there, and the price is also higher than other small scale or not so renowned breeder farms. On that cases, the hatchery owner may look for other options around. So when he looks for other options from not so renowned breeder farms, then he need to know these points before going to purchase or book the eggs from those not renowned companies. That is why this chapter is important to know. So the firstly come is the fertility. If the eggs are not fertile, there is no point of buying those eggs at higher prices. So as we may as I mean assume that fertile eggs are costlier than the table eggs, right? So we cannot buy table eggs, and we cannot like incubate them for 21 days, and with all our efforts, money, time, and resources, and later on we will find none of the eggs are fertile, so we have a great loss there. To avoid that situation, we have to collect fertile eggs. Now the problem is that there is no way we can know that the eggs are fertile when we purchase them, maybe at 2, 3, or 4 days of age of the eggs, right? So we do not know. That is why if we like want to buy eggs from non-renowned companies, we should visit the company frequently before purchasing. Maybe there are some restriction as it should be, but still we need to have some dialogue with the authority of the company, and if possible with permission, with protective measures, we should visit the farm as well to see the health status of the breeder birds, the working environment there for the farmers, the hygienic conditions there, the vaccination schedule they follow, etc. We need to know. And also uh, the sperm they are using for AI, or the male they are using for natural mating. You need to know whether they are from uh, like well known or renowned uh, breed or not, grandparent stock and parent stock or not. So once we have all this information and knowledge, then there is chance that the probability of having non-fertile egg would be lesser. Now here these points are actually being mentioned in the fertility point. Then we have the egg size and weight. So we have talked about uniformity in broilers, in layers, in parent stocks, etc. So in parent stock, when we are talking about uniformity, then we talked about the uniformity of egg size as well, right? So it is important here to have the eggs of uniform size for incubation. Standard egg weight ranges from 50 to 65 gram, which fits very well in the incubator setting tray. Hmm. If the egg is too small, it may pass through the setting tray যে হোল থাকে সেটা দিয়ে pass through হয়ে যেতে পারে, and if it pass through, it will drop, it will break down, it will contaminate the other nearby eggs. There will be bacterial contamination, so on. অনেক hazard. Likely, if we have jumbo eggs, very big eggs, or double yolk egg, which is not suitable for producing chick. So if we have that in our incubator, they will not feed in the setting tray as well. So when it is time for turning, I hope you have seen the video of turning by this time. So when there is time for turning, the egg may fall down from the setting tray, and that will cause the similar problem a small egg produce. So this is why the size and weight is really important. And the egg shape and shell quality. The egg shape should be of regular shape, and the shell should be smooth, clean. And we also should consider that if the shells are too thin and there are cracks or rough surface, I mean, if the shells are too thin, then there is chances of hairline cracks. So we may not be able to observe all the eggs one by one, but there will be cracks, and those cracks will be the source of contamination for maybe pathogens to enter into the eggs, and the embryonic development will be shut down, or it will like trigger the egg to break down, so it will explore the contaminants and to nearby eggs. That is why we have to look for this shell quality. Age of the egg. So many of the time we have confusion about the age of eggs, how long we can store the eggs before we put it into incubator. The answer is that it is best to use eggs less than 7 to 10 days old. So uh, the eggs can be stored from 7 to 10 days after being laid by the birds. So we have some environmental conditions where we can keep them for 7 to 10 days, but after 10 days there is greater chance of reduction of the water content of the egg so much that the embryo development will not be so good there. Or we will not have healthy chicks out of that eggs. So that is why this time limit is recommended. Now, when we store the eggs before putting into incubator for 7 to 10 days, we have to maintain a relatively cooler temperature, which ranges from 13 to 15 degrees Celsius, and it should be humid as well. The reason we need humid environment, that means with high humidity, is to prevent dehydration. Okay. Sanitary condition should be good. I mean, the egg should not be dirty. Dirty eggs, if you store for long. 41, is there any issue? You want to say anything? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. So, uh, is there is any issue regarding the sanitary condition of the eggs? Like we have dirty eggs, or we call it soiled eggs, right? Soiled eggs, we cannot store that for too long because eggs naturally have pores in their shell ranging from 10 to 15,000 pore in one eggshell, one egg. Um, average on average 10,000. So those pores usually they do not uh, support the entrance of pathogens through that. But if our egg is soiled egg, that means have a lot of dirt around it, then there is a greater chance of being contaminated the inner contents as well. So that is why we have to maintain the sanitary conditions. We have to clean the eggs before storing. The parental stock health is also important. They have to be regularly vaccinated, they have to be disease free. Genetic selection. Consider the genetic background of the parent stock. Select eggs from breeder flocks with desirable traits. So we have just talked about this, that we have to know the breed type of the male and female uh, of the parent stock or grandparent stock. Then we have to handle the eggs with great care because handling may also cause cracks in the shell. And also with dirt hand, if we process the eggs, that will be contaminated and not be good for the future hatching. Egg uniformity, uniform in size, shape, also color, also because why color is mentioned here, because the eggshell thickness is different in between the brown and white shell eggs, right? So if we have similar kind of eggs, it is easier to handle. And if we have different eggshell colors, that means the thickness is different, then the handler may have some difficulty in handling two types of eggs. And also when the hatch out comes, there is less uniformity we if we have different shape, size and color of eggs. Storage duration, maximize the time between egg collection and incubation. Okay, so prolonged storage may negatively impact hatchability. Practice twice a day turning. Okay, so we know the storage that is up to 10 days, but we have to do one thing, that we have to do turning of the stored eggs as well. So আমাদের এখানে টার্নিং করতে হবে স্টোরড এগস গুলো, so that is one challenge. Breeder nutrition is also important, and that's all. Okay, principles of incubation. Okay, so that's all for today's lecture. In our next class, we will try to cover experiment 7 and 8. Later on, we have 9 and 10. Okay, so we may have only 2 more classes after today, 2 more classes to cover this syllabus, and I will provide some topics for your assignment. So that is not going to be assignment, in fact, that is going to be presentation. So I will let you know the topics soon, and I may give around 1 month uh, for the 2 courses I have conducted. So within 1 month, you will submit me the presentation. Oh, we have another one, the experiment 3. Okay. So you will submit me back by 1 month. Maybe I will give the deadline. Then I will check it and put marks against your ID. So that's all for today's lecture. If you have any question regarding today's lecture, you can ask me now. No question. Okay,
স্যার
so
স্যার
বলো।
অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের বিষয়ে কি বলছিলেন এটা বলতে পারো তো?
আচ্ছা, অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের একটু দাঁড়াও। অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের বিষয় বললাম হচ্ছে, আমি অ্যাসাইনমেন্টের টপিক দিয়ে দিব তোমাদের হয়তো নেক্সট ক্লাসে, ফর বোথ দিস কোর্স অ্যান্ড দ্য অ্যানাদার কোর্স অফ জু ওয়াইল্ড লাইফ, রাইট? সো এই দুটো কোর্সের অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট দিয়ে দিব, নট অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট, ইনফ্যাক্ট প্রেজেন্টেশন, and I will give the guideline in the next class maybe. Individual as presentation naki group presentation, I am still thinking. So প্রেজেন্টেশনটা এমন হবে যে তোমরা শুধুমাত্র স্লাইড তৈরি করে দিবা, ইউ নিড নট টু প্রেজেন্ট। ওকে, and I will check, and later if I think you have to present, then I may conduct this kind of sessions where you will share your topic and you will speak. Okay, so depending on that, we'll put marks against your presentation. সো এইটা গেল হচ্ছে তোমাদের প্রেজেন্টেশনের টপিক সম্পর্কে। আর
স্যার, তার মানে স্যার আমরা ভিডিও সহকারে আপনাকে আপলোড দিতে হবে?
না, ভিডিও আপলোড দিতে হবে না, অনলি দ্য প্রেজেন্টেশন ফাইল, পিপিটি।
ও স্যার, জি স্যার, বুঝতে পারছি।
পিপিটি যদি আমি নেসেসারি মনে করি তাহলে আমি হয়তো এরকম জুম সেশন তৈরি করে তখন তোমাদের কাছ থেকে একদিনে 2 জন বা 4 জনের প্রেজেন্টেশন শুনবো। হ্যাঁ, সেটা হতে পারে, অ্যাভেলেবল সময় যদি থাকে যথেষ্ট। আর প্রেজেন্টেশন তৈরি করার জন্য 1 মাসের মতো সময় পাবা আশা করছি, 2টা কোর্স মিলে। তো এর মধ্যে তোমাদের সমস্যা হবে না আশা করি, যে পারবা এর মধ্যে। দ্যাটস অল। এনিথিং মোর? Nothing. Okay. So let's finish for today and meet next week. Goodbye.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম স্যার।
Walaikum assalam.